All right, today I want to have a very real conversation with you about what it's like to live with a chronic illness. And I feel like there's kind of two sides of it. When you listen to most people or watch social media, you have the people that are so doom and gloom, right? Everything is bad. I have a chronic illness. Nothing's ever going to get better because I have all these things going on. And then you have the other side where I feel like people are selling you this miracle. It's like, you do these two or three things and like you'll never have chronic illness again. And I don't think either one is 100% true, right? There is a middle. And I want to just share with you guys what my real life looks like ongoing with a chronic Epstein-Barr infection. However, I think that this conversation transcends to anybody with a chronic illness. If you have an autoimmune disease, if you have chronic fatigue, chronic pain, dysautonomia, I think this conversation is for everybody who struggles with a chronic issue, because people who don't have that just don't always understand. And I want to be really real with you guys, right? No fluff, no BS, open book. Like, what did it look like coming through this? And then what does my life look like today, ongoing, to give you hope, but also give you some resources, right? Like there's just things that I still have to do to take care of myself, because the honest answer is, like, the chronic illness never fully goes away, right? And I know sometimes that's not what you want to hear. And I know you wish the answer was like, yes, you get to the finish line, you arrive at health, and like, it's perfect and nothing bad ever happens again. I haven't found that for myself yet. And if I find it out, I'll tell you how I found it. But I haven't, right? And I think that I need you to hear this, and I need to be real with you. But it does get so much better, right? So I always tell people, kind of the tagline is, even though there isn't necessarily a cure, right? Specifically when I'm talking about Epstein-Barr, or if you have a chronic viral load or things, a chronic infection, even though there might not be a cure, there is always hope, right? There is the potential to live a very full, very healthy, very happy life. I truly have a fantastic life, but I still have a chronic illness. And there are times it definitely rears its head. And that's what I want to talk to you guys through right now. So in the beginning, if you're not familiar with my story, just there's a whole video about it if you want to go back and watch. But the synopsis is, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia at 11 years old. So I have dealt my entire life with chronic pain, with migraine headaches, with psoriasis, with digestive issues, with anxiety. All of these symptoms I had pretty much my entire life. And I really believed, well, in fact, I was told by a neurologist once that I was going to feel like that forever, right? I had fibromyalgia. The pain was all in my head. It was something I was going to have to manage my whole life. I expected that that's how I was going to live the rest of my life. And fast forward, at 28 years old was the first time I found out that actually my symptoms were being caused by a chronic Epstein-Barr infection. And I remember seeing the labs and being so relieved that I had an answer. I was like, oh, it's chronic Epstein-Barr. And in my head at the time, that meant I have an answer. I'm going to be able to fix this thing, and then everything's going to be great. And that's not exactly the way that it went. Now, here's what happened from that point forward. So I found out I had chronic Epstein-Barr, which, if you're not familiar with that, is linked to a lot of chronic illness. So chronic Epstein-Barr infection, I talk a lot about that in other videos as well, but it gets inside your cells and it really kind of reprograms your immune system and your nervous system. So it has been linked to things like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, a lot of different autoimmune conditions, Hashimoto's, MS, definitely a huge trigger for dysautonomia. So a lot of people who struggle with these issues do happen to have a chronic Epstein-Barr virus like I had. So in the beginning, right, I'm 28 years old. At the time, my husband and I owned a chiropractic office. We were seeing patients, people were coming to us for health and wellness. And I really thought it was going to be easy for me to find resources to take care of this thing. So I started going to doctors. I started asking for advice, and I found out very quickly that nobody really knew what to do for a chronic viral infection. And I personally like to do everything holistically. So I didn't want to go on antiviral medications. I'll have videos talking about alternatives to that moving forward as well. But for me, that wasn't the right fit. I didn't want to be on a medication for life. I was looking for these other avenues, these other things to help. And the resources were really limited. I couldn't find answers. So even though I knew what my root cause was, right, I had found my reason why I felt so bad, I still couldn't figure out how to fix myself, right? And I was already a doctor at that point, right? I was already a wellness practitioner. It was very humbling that I couldn't figure out my own health when so many other people were coming to me for help. So I actually went on this deep dive mission to figure it out. I was like, I'm going to figure out what works for fibromyalgia and chronic Epstein-Barr infection, since those were my two big things. So I started getting really interested in functional medicine. I went and got my functional medicine certification through the Institute of Functional Medicine. I started getting, so proficient at reading labs and looking at different protocols. And I tried all of these different things for myself. And some of them worked great. Some of them didn't work at all. I think through all of that learning, I've kind of boiled down the things that actually do work and actually don't work. And I'll share more of that with you as well. But through all of that, I found some really great things that helped, right? But I need to be very real with you when I say my chronic illness didn't just go away. Now, it is a million times better. I would honestly say I wouldn't even consider myself to still have fibromyalgia. Like, I don't wake up every day in pain. I don't have as much chronic pain and that really heavy fatigue, but there are definitely times when I can feel like it's kind of rearing its head. There are absolutely times, in particular, if I'm really stressed or if I'm going through hormone fluctuations. So both my pregnancies really gave me a lot of flares in my symptoms, coming into perimenopause, which is also very humbling. I can feel I've had to work harder on my health again in this last year than I had to the few years before. So there are definitely times, right, in life, stress, hormone fluctuations, being exposed to other illnesses. So anytime I get like the flu, or if I get COVID or any of those other things, I always have to be extra careful to protect my immune system, to go back to the things I know work well for me. Because if not, those are things that are known to flare chronic illness of all kinds, right? Your autoimmune issues, dysautonomia, chronic pain, whatever it is, those times and seasons in life tend to put us into a flare. So I have learned over the past, I've been doing this now for 15 years. I have learned over the past 15 years exactly how I can keep myself the most stable. But even more important, if you have a chronic illness, there's two things I want you to get really good at. Number one, know your triggers. And this is a little bit different for everybody. So I just want you to start thinking about this. Maybe you have to take notes, maybe you have to write stuff down, but know the things that tend to trigger your, I always call them flares, maybe you call them bad days, maybe you call them episodes, whatever that is for you. But start getting so aware of what triggers those flares for you. So again, for me, it's almost always stress or hormone fluctuations. Those are kind of the two things that will get me every time. So I know in seasons of stress or hormone fluctuations, I'm more vigilant. For some of you, there might be circumstances, right? There might be specific family members that trigger you. There might be environments, right? If there's a moldy environment, or if you're very chemical sensitive to things. I have a lot of people we work with that it's the like EMFs and Wi-Fi can really mess with them. So going into a big box store, being surrounded by a lot of those other energies can really stir up their nervous system. Start noticing these things, because the better you are at noticing your triggers, you're going to be able to support yourself better so it doesn't become a flare. So I believe one of the reasons I've been able to keep my system so calm for extended periods of time is because I've gotten really good at knowing, like, if that could potentially cause a flare, I'm going to do all these other things to protect myself as best as I can. And a lot of times it will actually prevent a flare. Or if the flare does happen, it's way more minimal. It doesn't last nearly as long. And it's definitely not as severe because I know exactly what to do. And that's step two. So number one is know your triggers, right? Know what creates a flare for you. And then number two is know your go-tos. I'm going to share with you, I have lots of videos giving you more tips. I'm going to share with you the things that really work for me in that circumstance. And they're the things I go back to over and over and over again. And the three things that I have learned are the most important for me. And it's actually in the order of importance. Number one, managing my stress. I didn't realize early on in my health journey how important my mindset, my stress minimization, having healthy boundaries, not overextending myself, like really protecting my capacity influenced my health. And now looking back, I really think it's probably the time that I had the biggest shift, right? The biggest breakthrough in my healing journey was when I took my mental health just as seriously as my physical health. And trust me when I say, when you don't feel good, that is easier said than done. I know I've been there. Like, everything I'm saying to you is because I've lived through it. There was absolutely times that my thoughts were very dark. There's absolutely times where it felt almost impossible to pull myself out of a bad mood, or I was so exhausted, or I was in so much pain. I was irritable all the time, having nervous system flares that just made me feel just like aggravated at everything and everyone. And in those moments, it's really hard to realize, like, that's not helping. But as I got better and better at, again, noticing when I was feeling like that, noticing when my thoughts would start to go dark, and then having tools to pull me out of it, that has been life-saving for me. So I love to rely on tools, things like EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique is a really great one. Havening technique is another really good one. I love guided meditations. I love prayer and journaling. Like, there are so many different ways you can prioritize that, but you need to find the ones that resonate with you. But I'm telling you, that is step one. When you're like, I feel like something's happening, I don't feel great, I feel like maybe I'm starting a flare, I will double down on my stress management. I will make it my priority to spend 20 or 30 minutes a day calming my mind, getting my thoughts right, and not allowing myself to get into that spiral. Because I'm just like you. If I let myself in that spiral, it's freaking hard to unwind the spiral, right? I know you know what I mean. Like, once you're in the spiral, gosh, it's hard to get out of it. So I really try to not let myself get in the spiral by using those tools as consistently as I possibly can. So look up resources. There's so many great videos on YouTube, on social media. People are talking all the time about nervous system tools and stress management. Go find some resources and try them consistently. That would be step one. Step two, finding the things that work best for you to support your immune system, your inflammation, and your viral load. For me, the things that absolutely work the best, I kind of have a combination. The first one, especially if you know that your root cause is a chronic infection, whether that is a viral infection, or maybe you have parasites, or maybe it's a bacteria, but if it's a chronic infection, know what your go-to things are that help calm your infection. So personally, for Epstein-Barr, and I've tried a lot of things over the last 15 years, and I've always come back to the combination of monolaurin and lysine together work the best for me. Hands down, no doubt in my mind. So I always have monolaurin and lysine on hand, at least 10 days worth, because if I start feeling myself getting in that flare, getting in that, inflammatory response, there's different things that I notice. For me, I'll notice my rings get tight. So if my hands are swollen, that usually means my immune system is working on something. I'll also notice, and you might have something silly like this, like I have this one spot in my neck. It's always on this side, and it only hurts when my Epstein-Barr is starting to reactivate, this very specific spot. So if I wake up and that spot hurts in my neck, I am immediately going to support my immune system, because I know that means my body is working on something. And then for me, my third trigger is when I can't regulate my emotions, right? I just know, right? I've gotten so good at keeping my emotions very stable that if there's days that I can't, or I'm noticing, right, that I'm much more emotional, or there's fluctuations in my mood, that has become a sign that my body feels like it's in danger, because maybe my virus is reactivating or my immune system is on high alert. So I know, right? Hands that are puffy and sore, that weird spot in my neck. And when my mood is all over the place, it is time for me to go back and put my go-tos in. So I start with my stress management. I add my monolaurin and lysine. I also love to add just a general immune support. So monolaurin and lysine are more infection specific. Immune support, things like beta glucans, which are very protective for your nervous system, and they actually retrain your immune system to find pathogens faster, which is really cool. I also love medicinal mushrooms, things like lion's mane and reishi. They've been used for centuries to help just support proper immune function, not overstimulatory, which again, if you have a chronic illness or autoimmune, you never want to overstimulate. You just want to support. Everything I'm mentioning is perfect for that, right? Not overstimulatory. I also love astragalus. If you've never heard of astragalus, it is one of the only herbs on the planet that's known to be able to help you strengthen your white blood cells, which is your immune system army, right? The things that can actually go in and help fight things off and not become exhausted from a chronic illness. I also love, and I'm naming a lot of things here, but they'll be in the notes. Shatavari is one that over the last couple of years, I've realized works really well for me. It not only helps target viruses, but it helps support like your resilience, right? It helps your body not get so worn out from a flare or from these chronic issues. So I personally take a good immune system support every single day, but I'll double up on it, or I'll add more if I feel like I'm in a flare. So I have my go-tos. I know exactly what they are. They are always on hand, at least 10 days worth, because the last thing I want is to feel like I'm getting in a flare. And then I have to order and wait and find stuff. And by that point, it's way worse. So I know if I wake up not feeling good, double down on my stress management. I'm adding in my immune system support. And then number 3, I'm cleaning up my nutrition. Now, here's the good news. I'm not always 100% strict, right? Thankfully now, right? I feel so much better. I'm doing so much better. I have a lot more freedom. In the beginning, I was very specific because I was healing. I had so many things to work on. Now I'm past a lot of that. So most of my life, we eat very clean, right? We always eat good, but I'm not always on a strict diet. I'm not always on an elimination plan. I'm not constantly, worried about everything I'm eating. But if I feel like I'm starting a flare, if I feel like my chronic illness is flaring back up again, absolutely, that is not the time to decide, oh, screw it, I'm going to eat all the things I want to eat, or I feel bad, oh, poor me, I'm going to have the ice cream or the cake. Nope, that is the time I just clean it up, right? Bring it all back in, because I know I don't want to create any additional inflammation that is going to make that flare worse. Now, I know that can sound like a lot, but you're going to get really good at these pieces of the puzzle, right? You're going to know your triggers. You're going to know your stress management tools. You're going to know the immune support that you love for yourself. You're going to know the right nutrition for you. Again, I'm going to have videos for all of this for you guys. Go watch them all, learn these tools. I'm going to teach you, but I need you to know your go-tos. And when you do, here's the best news. When you know your go-tos, when you wake up on that day and you're not feeling great, I have got it so down to a science that I can nip it in 2 days, right? Flares that in the beginning lasted 20 years, right? It took me 20 years to get out of my first flare. And then it took me 2 years, right? After that. And then it would take me, if I was in a flare, maybe 2 or 3 months. And then it was 6 weeks. But I've got so good at doing this now that it's a couple of days. I haven't had a flare that has lasted over a week in years. And not because I don't have a chronic illness anymore, because I've gotten really good at knowing what works well for me. So that has really become my passion, is teaching you guys from my own experience what works well for me. And I really hope it works well for you too, because even though there's not a cure, there is hope. And your hope is knowing that you have these go-to things. And when you have those, they become your arsenal, right? They become your weapons, so that you can have a full, healthy, happy life. You are not a victim to your illness. You are not stuck in chronic illness, but you will have it, right? It's something you know about yourself, but you are in control. You have the answers, and you have the ability to be in control and not be that victim. So I hope this was helpful. I'm going to have very specifics about each one of those things that I taught you guys, but I wanted you to see just a high level picture of what it looks like to be, here's the oxymoron, to be a healthy person with a chronic illness, right? And maybe you feel like that. You're like, I am a healthy person. I think of myself as a very healthy person, but I have a chronic illness. And if that's you, then you found your people, you found your right space. I'm going to share all those things, and we can do this health journey together. So thank you for being here. I hope that helped you, and dive deep in the rest of the information and get to know what your go-tos are. It's life-changing.